Hello everyone and welcome back to another day in the arena. I think that's like CGB's intro, so it sounded a little bit weird to say for myself, but watching him a lot kind of gives you some, influences how you talk sometimes. But today we're going to be playing Enchantments. Enchantments is still really good. I made a video back in the day, but pretty much when the bans happened or right before that, I said that this was going to be the future standard. I think it sits at the most popular deck played currently in the best of one meta. It's really strong. It punishes people for trying to have setup turns. There's like a slower game plan, especially like ramp. If they don't have like the board wipe in depth, like immediately, you just get out too fast and you get to punish them. And whenever they play like a stomper or creatures that can't block, you just get to punish them. Other thing that you get to do against like mono red is establish the naturalist. This sticks for one turn, or you're able to kind of stave off their attack with like a visitor, maybe a kami, and then play a naturalist and put like 2 counters on it at least. I'm pretty much just going to stick around. And if you get to untap with it, it's pretty much curtains in the mono red matchup because they just cannot deal with this getting massive, having trample or something with an audacity, or just pretty much getting huge with our saga that we currently play. That gives a 1/1 for each artifact and enchantment we control. We had a pretty much a telltale sign of how the mono red matchup goes later in the video. Stick around for that. Other than that, we're just going to get into it. This deck is what it is. It's enchantments. Okay. Well, we can keep this. We have a naturalist. If we find ourselves against like an aggro deck or removal deck, it's good to always have a backup one of these. So we'll keep. Getting to play this, potentially getting to untap and then play 2 weavers feels really, really good. Although, I generally like in this spot to not play the naturalist and actually just ossify this. Limit their early aggression. And maybe they'll use their burn spells on face and I'm allowed to use the naturalist as like, it'll like get through a turn cycle. Get the naturalist down, and then we'll play a weaver. So it's now out of play with fire range. They have to lightning strike it. If we get through this turn cycle, we have a Calix. Put a counter on it, and then another weaver to put another counter on it, and just make it the hardest creature to remove. They find a lightning strike. Blocks. Big damn. We'll do pretty much the exact same thing, but we'll make it a 4/4 this time. And we'll just hold the line with all the power that we have. They have tricks, though. If they do any of them. Mechanized Warfare is a good one. Weirdly enough, no blocks here. We might lose a ton of life here, but our naturalist can kind of gain a lot of it back. As long as it's just sticking around. Here comes a mono. So we can put the last card in their hand as a burn spell. Player Calix is another enchantment. Do not want to copy that. Although copying this would have been really nice as well. But I will gain 12. They have a lot of work, even with the Mechanized Warfare, to get me down from 19 with 2 cards in hand. Yep. And that's kind of why Enchantments is really good against red. Is they get you pretty low, and if you keep a naturalist around, really hard for them to outpace it. When it goes first, these are always the dangerous hands. But we are too low of a land count, I think, to risk it on 2 draws. So we'll just go ahead and maul. We have faster starts, so we don't necessarily need to keep that. We'll keep this. What is the ban? Is it Calix? Because I don't have a way to play it technically in his hand. I think so. If I had a reducer or something, then like, sure, I'm down to keep it around. One of my least favorite things is like playing this mirror. And being on the draw just feels incredibly bad. It really feels like you're behind. Very quick and early. I have a Kami. What can I do? I can play... Well, we're going to play a Forest. Do I just play my own Kami and see how this goes? And then hopefully they don't have ossification. And then next turn I can visit or play ossification. Maybe it'll get us out. We're both going to stare at each other, I think. For a little while here at least. We have Audacity, so if we do find a Calix later, it could put in a lot of work. We're going to take a lot of damage here because I'm not really blocking. They dedicated all to Kami. Makes me want to exile it. We know Calix is definitely a problem. There's second Audacity for us. Play another visitor. Ossification. I am going to do a different plan and diversify. Now I'm going to take his Kami under our control. No blocks. I want to leave the option of being able to double block the Calix. Naturalist. Feel like Naturalist is the draw because I don't think we're going to see that often where they play it that late. Grelv's really good. No attacks. Can we force a lot of interaction? Because we kind of need to. We definitely need to be aggressive. The problem is if we hold back, Grelv is going to be able to give Calix protection from green. Especially with our hand, we don't have a white creature. And then Calix is going to be able to connect anyway. So I'm going to need, in my opinion, to put a lot of pressure on. Here. Here. You can put counters on yourself, Kami. Here. Here. Now all my creatures have trample, so I'm swinging for a lot. Maybe they take it all. Okay. That doesn't make me happy. Again, I'm still losing to the ossification play. There's Audacity. Okay. They can also get to 15 pretty quick. They're already at 10, 11. And there's ossification. That's going to be game. I get to go first. I have visitor, 2 of them. We'd like the second visitor to be roughly anything else, especially with this Naturalist in hand. But we'll keep. We'll see how this goes. We don't have a whole lot of enchantments to trigger a lot of our stuff that we have going on. Anyone we're playing against, we might take a turn off to play this Kami. It looks like soldiers, so I think we have plenty of time to develop. So I can play Kami, I can play Visitor next turn, and then put a Naturalist on the stack. And feel pretty confident in our game plan. Alia? Or maybe the Flash creature? There's a lot of options at 2. Could be a Lord. But I'm pretty sure there's mono white humans. The second human come down. There's the officer, which is also a human. No second white, so that is shut off for a while. Let's play our visitor. Let's play our naturalist. Do 1D, take 1. We'll do it here, and then I'm gonna put. Really enough, I'm gonna put both counters on this visitor to have 2 3/3s in order to defend ourselves against a brutal Cathar. Because then they won't just be able to attack and these get buffed, and then I have like a weird block I have to do. And with explosive as a turn or 2 could be with this naturalist in play, We definitely are fine with just sitting back and holding, getting bigger than them. Also, this is a really good drop. We have now a 5/5 in the air. I could attack with a Kami, maybe them start blocking, but do I need to? Strike, but then it picks up like I don't have a whole lot of good blocks, so I'm gonna attack with this Kami. It hits. I would like to close the game before they're able to play too many things that are relevant. Skrelv, definitely a little late. Skrelv was probably the draw for turn. Cathar, I feel like, has to pick up our flyer, and it does. Ossification feels really good for us if we find it. Don't find it, though. But putting on pressure here is going to feel pretty good. Put counters on everything. Right here. Counter here. This is 3. I feel fine attacking with the Naturalist as well because we have 4 lands. We're at 17, so it could be play kick. So these are most likely going to. So it could be 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh, that's implying we have no blocks at all, which we do. So we'll attack like this. I can't remember the humans that they play, but it's the one that has like kicker or something. Whenever it enters, you can pay a white and a colorless. But we do get to pick up the initiates. And that's pretty important considering if they were to have counters on it early, if they were able to be aggressive early, they can actually remove 2 of them and destroy enchantments. And we have those. 5/4 is brutal. They can give a creature protection from white and attack if they want. Doesn't really accomplish a whole lot. We need about any enchantment off the top and this game's over. Saga is probably best draw, as we can copy the ability with a Weaver. They attack. I feel better about our chances. Okay, so they attack. Like, we're going to chomp up. We're going to eat this up. And now they only have 3 blockers, and where they had more before. Audacity is huge. Let us just trample. Let's just give our other huge creature trample. Only put counters on our tramplers. Then I'm shipping in the house. I don't know if they have a block, but math is for the blocker. So with tramplers alone, we have 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. They're at 12. They have 4 toughness here, which is 16, 17, 18, 19. So with trample alone, they're getting set to 1. And then we still have 3 other attacking creatures. So it's lethal. Nice. Okay. We are going to keep this. We have companions, we have naturalists. Feels pretty good for us. Land. What do we want to see? What are we going to see? Terrain. The mirror. We get to be on the play this time around. Other forest. Let's play a naturalist. Worst case scenario, we play a Spirited Companion and a Weaver. Well, I guess worst case scenario, we don't get to do either. Ooh. Maybe not enchantments. Now we have questions. This won't do anything, so let us try to draw. No land. Let's play a Weaver. So Naxos can't just be chump blocked. Connects. As we kind of figured it would. Most people don't play a Mana Dork to trade it off. Here. Remains in his battlefield. Tap, sacrifice it, draw a card. Okay. So we have a really good follow-up here. We have Calix going to be played. What would I like to put my counters on? Put it on the dog. Don't want to copy this. Definitely want to put an Audacity, however. Let's just make the dog a big old trampler. So, super nice thing here is that Spirited Companion. Oh, okay. All right. I messed up the outro, so I'm gonna record it. I kind of just babbled on pretty late, and I'm tired, so that tends to happen. The things I like in the deck is against the other aggro matchups, especially in best of one. I feel like you're pretty favored. Especially if you're on the play, like your win rate goes up significantly because you get to establish all the things that you want to do, but your opponent doesn't have an extra turn on you. And what I mean by that, because of course that's kind of obvious if you like a veteran of the game, going first is good. But in this case, kind of what I'm implying is getting things like the Kami and the Visitor established and then starting to get counters on them quickly is so much better whenever your opponent's playing like your bigger creatures or like they are playing like actual lords that buff their creatures across the board. And against mono red, having this naturalist come in on 2 and it doesn't get removed, and then you get to play extra stuff because if they have to take their entire turn off to remove this, that helps you grow these into which they're not ever able to attack through. Or you get a Calix, you put a counter on it, and then it just gets too big that they also can't deal with. And the value engine of Spirited Companion, the pump that Weaver puts on all the creatures in which it has to be the target of removal first, and then the small removal of their early threats with ossification. Other than that, we played against humans, I think, which is another really popular deck, has a pretty good win rate, and we kind of just put our creatures in, went toe to toe with them like one by one, and basically our creatures were massive in comparison to theirs. So we were able to just kind of push the advantage. They had no good blocks. We gave everything trample with Audacity, and then Kami having trample to begin with. But the deck's just really good, especially in the best of one. It's pretty hard to keep up with, especially when you start off on the play where your win rate's going to be significantly higher. The only downside that I really have, and maybe some other people have, is kind of playing a lot of mirrors. You'll get that when you're playing kind of the most popular deck. And I think we played it twice. I played this a little bit before, like kind of just like, I don't want to call them warm-up games, but kind of just like talking to get like kind of into the recording mood. I played like 2 mirrors there as well. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed. This deck's going to get really good. Final note, I guess, that I brought up in the outro before. Normally, this deck was going to fall off massively, as if I'm not mistaken, all these cards right here would have rotated out when the next rotation happened, and instead they're all going to stay in. So this is around for like a little while longer, or a year or so. I don't know the exact time frame it is, but it actually gets to stick around for quite a lot longer than we thought it was going to, because all these were going to rotate out. I think Kamigawa rotates out. If not, just ignore everything I'm saying. Other than that, any enchantments that get printed are going to leave a big impact on this deck, especially if they're lower cost, or if we get other effects like ossification, which has kind of been coming out a lot more often, like with Leyline Binding getting printed, ossification got printed. There's some like the Seal of Existence, I think the card's called, that got printed. So like enchantments are getting printed. I don't know if we're really notorious for that going back into Eldraine, as it was a little more artifact based when there are other spells. So other than that, I hope you all enjoyed. I definitely enjoy playing this deck every now and then. I kind of get to just like, to be honest, you just kind of get to turn your brain off sometimes and just turn them sideways and just have fun with it. instead of maybe like when you have to play control and really think of what you got to do every now and then. But we'll see you around in the next one, I suppose.